Okay, welcome back. Today I've got to do a little bit of prep for one of the personas I've been asked to draw, which is of an Alsatian. So I have here a picture of an Alsatian. I very specifically chose... Oh, I was doing this again. There we go. I very specifically chose this picture of an Alsatian for a very good reason. And that is that the reason that I've been using like pet photographs is because I know the licensing deal on those. I ask if I can use them, they say yes, and then that's fine. Whereas if you don't know anyone who has an Alsatian as a pet, what are you supposed to do? Well, I had a look online and I found lots of them. I was looking for images which I would have the right to use, and which I would have the right to use in the way that I wanted to use it, and that was more important to me. Because there were a few pictures of Alsatians on Wikipedia with Wikimedia Commons Creative... what's it called? Like the opposite of copyright. Creative Commons, that's the one. But because they are Creative Commons, there's an interesting sort of fact about them, which is that they will have a license that tells you how you can use them. And most of them were under share alike, which I don't mind, and most of them were under credit, which I don't mind. But it means that then people would have the ability to use my images, which I mean, I'm not selling them or anything, but I kind of have this horrible fear of someone taking one of my images and doing a whole half-hour video and saying, look at how shit this drawing is, because I've seen that before, and I don't want someone to be able to use my images to rip the piss out of me and for me to not be able to then do anything about it. Anyway, let's get on with this picture. So the thing about dogs is that they have sort of more pronounced muzzles. Like, you can see that this is very clearly kind of a box that goes down like that. That's your box right there, and then you've got a sort of underside to it as well. Alsatians are very different to the kind of dog that I have, because my dog is a greyhound, as you know, well, greyhound Saluki cross, as you know, and she is very thin. Doesn't have that kind of boxy face. She has a very long face. Whereas the structure of this, I feel, is a chunkier head with a more like, I feel like you can draw this face as a box and it kind of works, whereas with my dog you can't do that. So what we're looking for is kind of an imaginary box somewhere within this. This is what I was taught to do. Is that if you sort of see that shape, you can kind of see that there's this perspective box in there. It's obviously a lot longer than that makes it look, but this is taken with a very short angle camera. Short, what do you call it? Narrow field of view. This is also just a headshot. I know up until this point I've been doing full body shots, but I couldn't find... Oh, I should have explained. This is a public domain image. That's why I used it. This is actually a famous dog called... Check's image. Strongheart, which the photo was taken in the 1920s, and apparently this is now in the public domain. So I can do whatever I like with it. So the image that I produce based on it will be mine, and it won't be something that someone else can then use to say, hey, look at how terrible this artist is. These eyes have a very interesting kind of quality to them. They've got a... It's like round to there, but then a little extra... I'll take that one out. You can see you've got this bit of eyebrow here, this little... that shape in both of them. But then the rest is almost completely round. Like that. It's got a interesting expression, which when I draw it, it looks kind of evil, but when you look at the original picture, it's got this sort of, I think it's that curve that's the more pronounced one. So you have a kind of, the eye is like curve that way, like this, and when you see that, it looks... See, when I do it, it looks angry. does it not look angry in these pictures? I don't know how I'm going to do this. But we can see the curve of the head there, and we can see that this most definitely comes off of that curve because it's centered there, comes forward that way. In fact, the perspective, I know this is quite a wide angle because the nose gets wider. There's a lot of perspective on there. I'm not sure I want my image to do that. Let's get into it. I'm going to trust in myself, which is a very dangerous thing to do. So we have main dog head. That's simple enough. Let's get this right. That's more like it. Dog ears are practically the same height as the head. Like if you take that line there, swing it down, like that's basically the radius of the head. So if we have the radius of the head here, it's that again. So I need to actually make this head lower. Is that a circle? I should point out I am once again doing this very late. You know that yesterday I said that I was doing it really late because I've been really tired during the day and had other things to do. I don't have anything else to do right now. However, I have been... You know what, if I can't center it in the page, I'll just... There we go. Today I had a big nap in the afternoon, which you can do in the times of pandemic, don't you know? So these ears, they sort of meet on the side of the head here, like they literally take up the whole head. Like it comes out and then up. Oh God, I'm on the wrong. That comes up there. And you kind of have a down to there, up to there. This one comes down, goes out a bit. Actually, they both kind of go out a bit there. They've got this sort of that shape. Why is the button not switching me to... Because I've got... Right, okay. Both of these ears, they have the same shape thing going on, where take that off there. Actually, from the tilt of the head, like one of them's a bit higher, so that one seems about right. Although it should come that way. Are they too big? Is this going to look like a bat? Let's just go back a bit. So coming off the side of here, we have that is the shape of the ear, which then comes down, goes out a bit and in to there. I should have said that the eyes on this are very high up the head. Like the head is looking straight at us, but the center line is where the muzzle is. The eyes are like halfway up. So, and not only that, but that's also the line where the ears meet the head. So that allows us, if we split this into three, halve it there, halve that again, that's where the ears should be meeting the head. Is that really a half? Yeah, it's really a half. Okay. So we'll get rid of that. So these ears should theoretically be coming out here like that. That comes down a lot. And this one comes up from here. Same thing again, basically. That line where the eyes are. This comes out here in there. But of course that one's a little bit higher. Except that that is more like that. Am I doing that thing again where I put too much detail into the pencils and I completely lose myself when I'm doing it? What I need to do is forget this, forget all this detail. I need to chillax a bit, and what I need to do is say the ears start there and there, they go up to approximately this height. That's my ears. My eyes are along this line. Looks wrong, but let's keep going. Like, how far apart are they? Ah, that's a good point actually. Of this, the eyes should be here and here. We know that our muzzle kind of comes out from between the eyes and it ends at a point here, so we're going to draw the nose there. Nose is quite a lot wider. And then this is kind of ruffled here, this is kind of ruffled here. Split the nose in half, the nostrils go there and there. You ever one of those dark moments where you rethink absolutely everything that you're doing in the... like, maybe art isn't for me. Maybe I should go back to doing whatever the hell it was I did before. Oh yeah, because my previous job in software engineering made me get palpitations, and the stress of the workplace nearly killed me. They were some fun times in hospital. Right, so if this eye is here, this eye should be here, because they should be roughly equidistant from that part of the nose in the middle. The nose, meanwhile, needs to come down a little bit and be kind of here. On the scale of the original image, the nose... Blah, I keep switching to a slightly wider pen. I'm now on an 80 wide pen. If we look at the outline of the nose here, the outline of the eyes here, the nose is approximately 2 eyes wide, maybe 3. Yeah, but we're going to go for bigger eyes, so we'll go for 2. We'll go for 2 eyes wide. There's our muzzle. comes back over here. It is open because good boys always have open mouths because they're always panting and happy. Got teeth here. The side of the head should be a little bit shorter there because it's kind of, I've drawn a circle on it here, but actually it's kind of like the circle part of it is sort of that part. Well, that's a good point actually. This circle that I've drawn encompasses like not only the head. Oh, what am I doing? Encompasses not only the head but some of the neck. The actual circle of the head is like that. Huh. So that should actually come in a bit closer to that side. The underside of this should have been at the bottom of this circle. Like that whole mouth is like this size. So yes, we have that part of the muzzle there, but then the open part is almost as big, leaning down this way, coming over to here. There's kind of a dark part of the mouth there. Dark part of the eyes comes over this way. We have this, it has these big angry eyebrows. Like this dog has big angry eyebrows, but it still looks sympathetic, and I don't know how it does that. I don't know how. Maybe it's because there's that much of that there that when you get these parts here, they sort of, I don't know. The eyes now look way too high up the head. Like they just look like they should be more down here-ish. Maybe a little wider. There's a kind of a this sort of comes down here and that one disappears into that. Oof. Let's start on the actual inks. I know you're thinking, oh my god, you're not ready for the inks. Look at that, look at the state of it, but calm. Let's stay calm. And let's go back to a 50 wide brush. That's about right. Let's do this. Let's start to fill in areas of this head. Let's not do that though. Nope. Let's do the sides of the heads a little bit later. I think that we're not quite ready for those yet. We have that there. And there's a kind of, whereas this one comes down here and you sort of see a little fuzz there. See, it's hard to tell what's actually going on with that. Is that just darkness inside the eye and that should just be a fuzzy line there? Maybe. Let's get this nose in place. I've said the nose is going to save us a lot of bother. I feel like once we can get this nose, because it's literally just sort of a no, not quite. See, there's quite a solid edge where it meets the muzzle. Like, you can sort of see how the perspective on it changes. Go from there, and then this part kind of comes back up here, like that. It's got that whole thing going on, but then how do you shade for that? How do you? Maybe you don't colour that part in. Maybe that's the secret. Right, let's get these eyes in. Get them the same height at least. That works. Of course, dogs don't have like tall, thin eyes like cats do. Dogs have round eyes. So you've got to do them as circles no matter what. Except if it's looking off to the side, they do ovate slightly. Right. Let's note that muzzle part down onto there. This does have a kind of edge to it there. Now, see what's going on here is that you have this kind of black lip that kind of joins in with the underside of it all. It kind of comes out that way a little bit. That's it, it's like that. So the nose looks real bad. At this point, that's the part I'm least happy with. We can fix the eyes up a little, because these should have a part that goes like this. Again, how come the dog in the picture doesn't look angry? Except if you blur your eyes, it kind of does look angry. It's like a very subtle curve there, and then it comes down here. This dog has resting bitch face, despite being male. So like this part is a much darker colour, but then the nose is going to be the darkest part of all. Let's erase the centre of the nose and just look at it as a structure. So without the nostrils, the nose makes a lot more sense. It feels structured. So if the nose feels structured when it's like that, the thing that we need to maintain that structure is to sort of imagine that it's this block shape again. And if it's this block shape again, then the nostrils should go there and there. Except it doesn't quite reach all the way to the edge of that. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to colour all the way up to, but not including those parts. That will then give us the shiny dog nose. Let me just see that curve again. So I fill in everything but that part and everything up to there. And this one you can see all the way around the side, so they almost connect. Should that just go straight around like that? Is that essentially what we're aiming at? A sort of spiral almost. Let's do an experiment and fill all that in and see how it looks. See, they're in the right place, but they don't look like nostrils. If we cut that, if we cut out that part and that part, if we just cut all that part, that's closer, and then if we that's the solution. Now it looks like a nose, thereabouts. I'm happy with that. I'll stick with that. So we also know that we have like a dark part of the muzzle here and here. And we've got to think about this, you see, because we've sort of said that this part of the nose is entirely... I'm going to take off some of the top part of that. I'm going to take off some of the side part of that, make it a little bit more block oriented. I don't know what I did to bring attention. I don't know what I did to bring attention to myself, but I've actually had another fursona request. So this is actually going to put me in good stead, not only for drawing an Alsatian, but also hopefully for doing a wolf. Which I know that wolves aren't dogs, but it's got to help, right? Alsatians are a lot closer to wolves than the dog I have. So this is one of these little eyes that comes up here, and there's another one on this side which kind of goes down a bit more. I'm going to make the pupils a little larger, see if it makes it friendlier, and give it the... It's funny how making the eyes shiny almost makes it sort of less intimidating. That's a good thing, right? So let's get back to filling this in. One of the requests that I've had is do a black wolf, and frankly, that terrifies me because, like, if the entirety of the wolf's fur is black, how do I clearly identify it as said wolf? Right, now what I've done wrong here is that needs to follow the shape of the muzzle more. That needs to come up round here. So what I need to do is sort of edge that part in a bit. This mouth is way too wide. Like, it doesn't need any of that part. The mouth should end kind of there. Meaning that this part here is there. There's also a line of shine on that black lip. I feel like we need more darkness under there. Like that literally just disappears into the dark. The funny thing about this dog is that if you look at the coloration of the dark parts of the fur, you have this dark part here. You have this dark part. You have this dark part here, but there's no matching dark part on the other side, which you feel like there should be, except that maybe the muzzle doesn't come far enough over, or maybe this eye is too far to that direction. Oh, the eye's too far over, isn't it? That's what I've done wrong. See if I give it a little bit of, just a little dark part here to show that it matches up to that other part, maybe that'll work. Or maybe not, let's keep moving. So, we know that we have dark areas here on the dog. And we know that there'll be a matching corresponding one here. So glad that when you're stylizing a little bit more, you can do this with sort of scribbly lines rather than having to hatch in every single hair. That's very cool. I'm going to try something with the eyes, just briefly. You see, I feel like in the original, the eyes are a lot larger. And also a lot friendlier, because they have a kind of thing going on with the shape of the reflections. Yeah. Right, let's get back to doing some black parts on these ears then. So we know that this part here is completely dark, and it kind of goes all the way up to there. In fact, this whole section here is dark. This dog has a bit of a flat head thinking about it. Yeah, I've squished it. What I've done is I've squished it. Let's not worry about that too much. This comes down here, and indeed all the way up into this part of the ear, and down to here. In fact, this part comes all the way down to here like this. This is a sort of widening out, and it sort of joins up almost. This kind of comes down here. You don't really see it in the source image too much, but this comes down here. No. Technically that comes down from here because the dog's got its head turned, you see. There's kind of a secondary area to that, and the dog's head. It's down here. I think I'm done. I think that's it. Other than maybe a few dark areas on here. There are a few little I'm going to do a thing here. And it's going to seem really, really weird. But watch this. It didn't work. This is going to be very risky, but let's try it anyway. So here we go, we're going to do behind, and I'm going to fill all this in. And I know what you're thinking, that's not doing anything, Stacey, that's doing absolutely nothing, but it is doing something. And what it's doing is setting us up I think it's different we want. Right. There we go. See what I did there? You can't do that with a regular pen. You can do it with a magical computer pen. Though having gone through all that, I kind of don't like it. I'm going to need to use a reference image just to get the colours of a black and tan Alsatian right for this when it's done. Oh. You know what? I'm doing this all wrong. I don't need that part. There's a single structural line that goes up the ear there. I can get that in, and I can get the shading behind it. There's a similar one here, but it's not as long. Feels like there is kind of a thing there, and kind of a thing there that helps with the shape of the ears. It's hard to tell though. And this does have, just looking at it now, like a line that comes up here that has and the same on here, except that here it does actually kind of meet up with the edge a bit, but I think that for our purposes we want it to not, because I think that in this particular image that adds a lot more by being constantly present in the whole thing. There we go. Black and tan Alsatian. Stop the recording. You don't need to see me save the file. Oh god, you know, when I look at it on the image there, I see that the head is very seriously squished. Actually, hang on. I need to rescue this because otherwise it's going to go down in history as having this really flat head. Oh god, sitting back from it, I see it now. Oh, it's awful. It's really awful. Let me rescue this dog using magic. Let's give it a bit more headspace. There we go. There is actually, just looking at it, it's a little fuzzy line. It's down the centre of the head, just there. And the shape of the head should come in around there, not there. I love being able to touch things up in post. It makes the artistic experience just that whole little bit less annoying. Anything else we need to fix? Yeah, you know, that's okay. I like that. That'll do. Will that do? Does it look better without that line? Maybe. Would it look better with a completely invented line? About there? Yes. Now we're done.